Oh boy, I'm more excited to tell you about today's topics than a vegan is to tell you about their dietary choices. It's the Cryptocurrently Show. Welcome back. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Did you get caught up on your chores? Did you watch the Bruins beat the Canadians? Good job. Good job, Boston. Hanging in there. I spent my weekend having a number of conversations with you guys, and I really appreciate that. This show, when you guys interact with me, it helps me to see who's listening. You know, who are you guys? You know, what is it that you need from me? Because you know, as you guys know, I'm new to this podcasting and YouTubing and all that sort of thing, and so I need to know who I'm talking to. So when you guys write in, leave comments, or even open up dialogue with me, that's, you know, preferably, especially now before it gets too big. When I can I can interact with you guys, I can take your questions, have conversations with you. It really helps me to shape, the direction of the show. One quick message here that I got over the weekend. This is from a listener, Alexis, in Perth, Australia. A lady listener. She said, mid-conversation I was having with her, she says, haha, all things digital are learning curves. We all make mistakes, but it's awesome that we can help each other on how to maximize here. I totally agree. That's the whole point. Community. This is brand new territory for everybody, and if we don't stick together, if we don't communicate with one another, bad things will happen. Says your podcasts are good. Speaks to the layperson, and thank you for that. Speaks to the layperson, explains things in good detail without being boring, and stays realistic. Unlike a guy I read about who laid down 160 grand on Litecoin before the crash and then cries poor. Yeah, well, whoever that guy is, that will not be the last tale like that. These 10 years from now, I made this observation in my Sunday morning stories. 10 years from now, we're all going to be looking back on today. And what stories will we have? We're going to have stories like that guy. Many of those stories. And you will remember, and these kind of stories are going to help shape us all. Some of these stories are warnings, and some of these stories are encouragements. So we have to, we've got to weed through it together. Overall, she goes on to make the point, overall, women are unrepresented in tech alone, tech, let alone crypto, but I am keen. See, they use that word keen there in Australia. You ever been to Australia, by the way? It's beautiful. I recommend it highly. As a bit of a digital girl nerd, try to find ways to better these odds. Maybe a female guest speaker, just like a regular person, wife, neighbor who got into crypto, why, etc., might encourage other women. Well, the thing is my wife has a very thick Albanian accent, and so I don't know that I'm going to be having her on the show. But remember, you seem to have started growing good listener numbers, so use that as your number one marketing tool to help those who don't listen find you through their friends and who do and use things like Twitter, etc. And some of those other podcasts I listen, they will end with, remember, if you like this, follow me on Twitter. Okay, by the way, little housekeeping. I changed my Twitter handle. It's now crypt_currently. So CRYPT_currently. I had to change that. Crypto currently, there wasn't enough characters allowed in there for me to put what I wanted in there. But that's it for now. And yes, I also need help with that. When you guys see something that you think that could improve the show, don't think that you're being rude by telling me. It's rude to not tell me. I need to know that stuff so that I can get better, I can get bigger, and we can keep doing this, and we can grow together. That's all very helpful. So, real quick, girl listeners, and women who participate in this market. Look, I don't know, when I look into my analytics, it says I have about 8% women. And I think that, from whatever small numbers I have, that's probably a pretty good representation of who's out there. And if those are the numbers across the board, I don't know why that would be, and I'll tell you why. Because when I do my research on these companies, I'll pick cryptocurrency, usually because you guys told me or because I did the research on my own. But when I look up a company and I look at who's running it, there's a lot of women out there that are involved in these companies. Like, once you lift the veil on the cryptocurrency and you look at the company behind it, you can see who's working there. There's a lot of women working there. I don't know why there would be some sort of gap in that numbers, but I don't know. Maybe maybe women aren't just interested in it. I don't know, or maybe if they don't identify their gender on their profile, then the analytics, those people are not going to be able to know if it's men or women. So I don't know. I can't really answer that, but I'm definitely open to, or I should say, I would encourage women. Like, if you're listening and you're a lady, write in. Let me know. Let me know so that I can share your thoughts too, and get that feeling of inclusivity going on the show. I don't want anybody to be left out. There's no, this isn't like working on an oil rig or something like that. Like, anybody can be interested in this. So whatever. The shape of the show. We're in talking with all of you people. I've noticed a couple of things that you guys are, and girls, you guys are mostly people that go to work every day. You're in my typical age range. Most of you guys are 35 to 50, and you got to go to work. You know what I mean? You've got to go do your thing for 8 hours and then come back. So that tells me that there's really no point in me telling you about short-term trades, because you can't watch it. You have to work. Because if you're checking your phone every 10 seconds looking to see if your trade is performing, you're going to lose your job. And God forbid you're the owner of the company that you work out, because if you try to become a day trader on this, you're going to lose your company. That's just, you've got stuff to do. So although I will be peppering in my ideas on short-term things, like the pack coin thing, that's a short-term thing. That's March, right? Wait to see what happens in March. Wait for the coin burn, see what happens. But look, as it is that this is such new territory, I think that, if you pick the top 5 coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, the top 5 coins, I think that you could put some money in and say, I'm not going to touch this for 24 months. I'm not even going to think about it. I think that if you came back to it in 24 months, you would be up on all of them. I believe that. It may not be true, but I believe that. Why? Because this is such new territory, and as the news is shaping on it, it tells me, man, we've got a long way to go. A long way to go. And I'll give you one example of that. Now, this goes back again to, how do we see the future, right? Without becoming a voodoo priest or some sort of mystic, how do we look into and see the future with accuracy, right? I use the analogy over and over again. Like, if you're driving down the highway and you're doing 75 miles an hour, and you're driving from Phoenix to San Diego, and you see a sign that says San Diego 150 miles, well, you can predict in the future that in 2 hours you're going to be in San Diego. You know what I mean? Like, there's simple ways to approach this, and then it gets a little bit more difficult the more you dig. And there's one thing I wanted to show you, as far as like how do I look at it, and how I believe that you should look at it. These markets are moved by news, but once the news is out, it's over, right? If you're not on it when the news comes out, then you've missed it, either for the better or for the worse. Like, if bad news comes out and you weren't on that coin, then all right, you're saved. If good news comes out and you're not on that coin and it skyrockets and goes to the moon, well, you've missed it. Right? You didn't make any money. Too bad for you. This is what futures trading is. As I said the other day, like, you can go onto the futures market and look at unleaded gasoline. Right? When I talked about it the other day, unleaded gasoline for January delivery was $1.85, and the unleaded gasoline for May was $2.05. That's a 20-cent difference. And every one of those pennies in the futures, if you had a 20-cent run on one of your positions, it would be $420 per penny in the futures. So, and why is it for $420? Well, because the contract on an unleaded contract is it leverages 42,000 gallons of gasoline. So a 1 cent move in the price of a gallon is 42,000 pennies. That's $420. You follow. So the question would be, well, then why can't I just buy it now and then sell it at $2.05? Well, the answer is because it's already factored into the market. Unless you're willing to take delivery of a whole bunch of unleaded gasoline right now in the month of January and then hold it until May, well, you can't make money on that because everything's already factored in. So why would you, knowing that it's all factored in, why would you put money on an unleaded gasoline contract for May delivery or June delivery, knowing that everything's factored in? Well, the reason why is because there's probably going to be a fire at the Tamco refinery in Los Angeles or in Long Beach or wherever it is. Well, why would I bet on that? Well, because there hasn't been a new refinery built in the United States since 1974, and even that one was built in Puerto Rico. And since then, since 1974, when that refinery was built, half of the refineries that existed then have been shut down. So we've got way less ability to refine oil into gasoline, and the ability that we do have is all running on equipment that's over 40 years old. Right? So chances are there's going to be a disaster at an oil refinery. There could be, a Saudi prince could come out and say, you know what, I think we're just going to dump a whole bunch of crude oil into the market and see what happens, and then the price would plummet. The idea in the futures market is to get ahead of the news. Be there before it happens, and then you can profit from it. So what kind of news can we rightfully assume is going to be coming down the pike? And how can we get in position before that news comes out? All right, well, let's have a look at, this was a very interesting article that I read on the 19th. So, this is a few days ago. But we can kind of divine the future a little bit from this. So if you go on to CCN, it's January 19th, and the headline is Visa CEO, quote, "We won't accept Bitcoin directly." So let's just take the headline really quick. Visa comes out and says, "We will not accept Bitcoin directly." That's the whole headline. Sounds bad, doesn't it? Right? Well, okay, well, what do we know about Visa? Visa, Mastercard, and American Express are these, we know that they're companies. What kind of companies are they? Are they politically motivated companies or financially motivated companies? That's an easy one. Certainly politics are involved. I'm sure that those three companies pay a certain amount of money every year to lobbyists to try to get more favorable terms from the government and from the banking system. But ultimately, they're in it for the money, right? So we look down and we see what this guy actually said, the Visa guy. It says, Visa will not directly accept Bitcoin, according to the company's CEO, Alfred Kelly, in a recent CNBC interview during the National Retail Federation Trade Show in New York City. Quote, listen to this, "We at Visa won't process transactions that are cryptocurrency based," he said. We will only process fiat currency based transactions. Sounds bad so far, right? If you are paying for something that is bouncing around at the level Bitcoin's bouncing around, and you think about buy ahead kinds of transactions, such as an airline ticket or a car, if you're using Bitcoin, when is it valued, he asked. When you buy it or when you use it, end quote. Now, all right, the headline says, oh no, this is terrible, Visa has no interest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies at all. That's not what was said. Here, listen to what this man actually says. He says, look, we can't handle these transactions because we don't know what the value of this currency is, right? If somebody uses our card, right? If you pull out your debit card, there's a Visa symbol on there, there's a Mastercard symbol on there. When you go to the counter and you swipe that card, you are obligating Visa to pay that bill for you, right? That's how that works. And so what they're saying is that, like, look, this is so new. We can't process it right now. So you have to ask yourself, do you think that just Visa, I'll take all three of them, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, do you think that right now, if you were to go to their headquarters and have access to, Mr. Alfred Kelly here, and asked him this question, are you paying anybody right now, are you paying money to somebody to figure out how to be involved in the cryptocurrency market? Do you think that his answer would be yes? Do you think he would actually tell you the names of those people and how much they're paying? These people are in it for the money. You better believe that these people are trying to figure out a way to make sense. Right now they can't, right? Because if you buy a plane ticket, right, that's a going forward type of purchase. Right now it's January, and you know that in the summertime you're gonna take a trip, right? You're gonna fly off to, let's say you're gonna go to Florence, Italy. There's a place there where you can stay there for pretty cheap, and you can pick truffles, dig truffles right out of the ground. Costs you a little money, but it's beautiful. It's the Italian countryside, and it's just a gorgeous place. But you got to fly to Italy. Now you're going to buy that ticket right now because it's cheap. Let's just say it's $1,000, right? I'm just trying to use a nice round number. Well, you buy that ticket, and Visa has to pay for it. You have to pay Visa, but when you say go on that card, Visa has to pay for it, and you're not even going to use that ticket for 6 months or whatever. So if the cost of Bitcoin plummets in that time and you've paid with Bitcoin, Visa loses. They're not in the business of losing. They can't lose. They can't. It would crush them. If they started paying with assets that could lose 90% of its value in 3 days, they can't take that risk. There's no way. So what's the answer to that? Well, clearinghouses and arbitrage. Somebody needs to figure out an investment tool, right? A financial product that would enable Visa, MasterCard, and American Express, and Discover, and whoever else is big out there, but a financial instrument, which are invented all the time. They're invented all the time. And they need to find one that will enable them to participate in the cryptocurrency market. Now, why would they do that? Well, because a lot of people are becoming what are called digital nomads. And what that means is that, there are people that know that they can work right off of their laptop and get paid well, and they can do it from anywhere on earth. So why would you stay in your crappy apartment in, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, when you can go to Thailand, or you can go to Fiji, or you know what I mean? Like, you can work from anywhere. And these kind of people, these are my kind of people, travelers. These people have a huge interest in the cryptocurrency market. So if Visa, MasterCard, and American Express want to participate, then they're going to have to pay very close attention to everything that's going on and take advantage of these opportunities as they come. So the question you need to ask yourself is, long term, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, whatever, what do you think it would do to the value of your coin if and when Visa, Mastercard, and American Express figure this problem out? When somebody comes to them and gives them a solution, because keep in mind, this is a math problem, right? This is a mathematical problem. We've got plenty of mathematicians on this planet that can figure this sort of thing out. And when it happens, what's that going to do to cryptocurrency? Can we see that? So, long term, when Visa, Mastercard, and American Express figure out a way to get involved in cryptocurrencies, that's game over, right? That's those to the moon. That's what's going to happen if it happens. So we can look at that, look at the future, and see it coming. Secondly, again, another long-term pick. If you guys can, if you're able to, if you can go all the way back on my very first episode on this podcast, it was an interview. And I sat down with the people at Neuromation, a guy named Sergey Nikolenko, probably butchered his name again. Sorry, Nico. I'm Sergey. I sat down with those people. Now, Neuromation has to do with artificial intelligence. They're not traded yet. They just ended their coin sale, and it's closed right now. So this is not, I'm not telling you to buy because you can't. You physically cannot purchase Neuro tokens right now. It's closed. A couple of things about Neuromation. Number one, they were accessible, right? I asked them to come and talk, and they came and talked. They sat down with me, and they had their head guy, their head math guy. He came and he sat down with me, online of course, and we had a nice long talk. So we already know, like, these people aren't afraid. They're not a scam. They will come and talk to you. Also, when they put their coin out there for sale, it sold out in 8 hours. It was like $50 million in 8 hours. 8 hours is also the typical length of a work day, right? So they went to work one day and made $50 million. Good for you guys over there, Neuromation. Constantine, call me. Also, the thing about Neuromation is, from the beginning, they were winning awards. At the D10E Investors Conference in Davos, Switzerland, they took first prize. Now, what that conference is all the people who are interested, all the legitimate people who are interested in investing. You guys know how I feel about that word, but people who are interested in investing in cryptocurrencies, they go to these conferences and they look. It's like an auction, basically, where these companies put themselves on display, and then people with huge bags of money look at them and listen to them. They hear what they have to say, and they inspect the people, they inspect the company, and they ask themselves, like, do I want to put my money in this? And it's a contest. Well, Neuromation won that contest, and they won it with flying colors. And then after they won that contest, then they moved on and had their sale of their cryptocurrency called Neuro Token, which sold out in 8 hours. So these are all incredibly strong factors. Now, it's not guaranteed, all right? There's no guarantee that they're even going to trade on the open market, but you can rest assured that when it comes time, when they start pushing to try to get traded on the market, I will be keeping you up to date on that as closely as I can, because if they hit the market, I will be there the moment that they get traded. Because I can't buy it right now. I can't buy it right now. I have to wait until it gets traded on the open market. And so that's something to be looking at. And as time goes on, I'm going to be telling you about other ICOs that did well at these conferences, so that you can make your decisions with a little bit more information based on who's winning, who's winning the awards, who's getting the favor from the people who know what they're doing. And also, when I make other, if I give you something else that's already traded, then I'm going to be making those recommendations based on What are their history? What were they doing when they were just an ICO? What were they doing before that? Who are these people? So that way, you guys can take and, if you're going to put some money down on a cryptocurrency, then you can put your money down and not have to think about it all day, because the play itself is going to be more 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, that sort of thing. So that's the show today. Neuromation, I'm very much looking forward to talking with those people again, and also very much looking forward to seeing them being pushed towards the open market. And as the week goes on, we'll be making some other recommendations, ICOs, but I'm going to try to keep it focused on things that you can get into right now because they are traded on the open market. So stay tuned. Thanks you guys so much for tuning in. My numbers are doing really good, so please keep hitting like, keep hitting share, keep hitting subscribe. Check me out at crypt_currency on Twitter. They'll be in the show notes as well if you can find them on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Look forward to hearing from you.